Okay, so I'm going to start by treating this as if I just loaded a GPX file and I'm about to start my riding. So on the GPX manager, you can check all the tracks. On this file, for example, all the tracks are sorted correctly, for what I can see at least, yeah. So on a normal day of riding, usually the first thing that I do is get a route from the place where I am to the track start. And DMD2 can already do that by clicking on GPX file. Then you go to tracks, you select the first one, and then you click on navigate to start. When you do this, it asks you if you want to use DMD2 to calculate a route and navigate, or if you want to use an external app like Google Maps or something else. And usually if I'm at home and I'm going to start riding, I just want to get to the track start. Most of the times I will ride through roads, paved roads, and depending on how distant the track start is, I might even go and use highways. So on this case, I'm going to use DMD2 to calculate the route. I'm going to choose road fast so that it calculates using the fastest route possible. And on this case, I'm going to avoid tolls and motorways. And I'm going to click start. So obviously this isn't my home, it's the last location where I stopped the location simulator, and it has calculated the route, as you can see. So now I would ride this route that would take me to the track start. And the track start is here. So when I would arrive there, the navigation would actually finish on its own, and then I would simply follow the track. Usually when I'm following a track, I use the lock function. There's actually a button on the controller that you can use to toggle this, or if you want to click on it manually, it's this lock button here. When you do this, by default, the touch of the screen stops working, so there's no danger of someone touching your screen and changing something, or even raindrops doing touches. And you also get a bigger map space because the bottom menu goes away. Then while I'm riding, so I'm going to simulate the route again so that we get some action here. So when I'm riding, some of the tools that I use the most are searching for stuff. So the point of interest search, which is the third button on the top left, this one, and here you have a list of points of interest. So if you want to search something like a place to sleep, you get this list. And I'm not sure if by now you understood how these types of dialogues work, but if you notice on the top right corner, you have this minimize button, which is really useful when you want to check these listings. If you click on it, then the dialog will only take half screen space, and now you can click on the entries and it will try to adjust the zoom so that both the point of interest and your location are visible on the map. As you can see, it's always adjusting, so you can always see where you are and where is the point of interest in relation to you. If you click on the maximize button, then you get full screen again, and then on the right you have the navigate, share, call options, just like on any GPS. So obviously we use this point of interest search a lot. So besides the points of interest, something that we end up using a lot on rides is the ability to get distance information along the track. So I'm going to explain how we usually use that. So for example, if I'm at a location, if I want to know the distance between my location and some point on the track, you can just simply tap anywhere on the track like this, and you get this window. And this window is really useful because, for example, I'm currently here and we are doing some planning, and I want to know what's the distance for example, this spot. So I just tap here, and now I know that the spot where I tapped on the track, if you look from the left, you get the distance from that point to the track where it belongs start. So it's 107 kilometers from the track start. You get the distance from that point to the track end. You get the distance for that point to the GPX start, because sometimes, for example, the point where you want to get information, it's not on this on the same track. So let's go to the second track, which is this blue one. If I click here, now you can see the distance for that point, from that point to its track start is 27 kilometers. From that point to its track end, it's 233 kilometers. And then you have the distance from that point to the GPX start and from that point to the GPX end. On the right, you get the distance to your current location and the travel time to arrive there based on your current average speed. The cool thing about this is that all calculations that you see here are done point by point along the track and not like straight lines or stuff like that. So it's what the software is doing is going point by point and measuring distances between points, finding your position on the track, and then doing all the math to get all this information. Another thing that we end up using a lot is, for example, if at any given time you want to check the distance between 2 points. So for example, imagine you are going to stop here for lunch, and then you want to get the distance from this point to another one. So you click here, and now you have the first point selected, and you can go anywhere along the track, even on other tracks from the same GPX file. And then you can simply click anywhere, and now you can see the distance between those 2 points. And you have some additional information, like those 2 points are not on the same GPX track, but the tracks are connected. And this means that both tracks where the 2 points are placed are connected. Basically, DMD2 can check how the tracks connect between themselves and make like a map of how everything connects, where a track ends and the other one starts. And he actually, DMD2 actually needs to do this to be able to do this kind of math. So yeah, this is a really useful tool to be able to get distance between 2 points on a GPX file, either on the same track or on different tracks. We actually use this a lot, not only when we are riding, but even sometimes at home when we are planning. Okay, next thing, there's another feature that I'm really enjoying using, and I use this, for example, if you are following a track and you get to a place where the track is closed, you cannot go through it because there's like a closed gate or a tree fell down, whatever it is, and you need to find an alternative. And for some reason, for example, imagine you are here and you see no alternative near. Sometimes it happens that just because there's no road on the map, it doesn't mean that there isn't actually some type of trail that you could follow to make this detour. So you can simply click on a button on your controller and enable the satellite view. So the satellite view is this globe icon here, and when you click on it, it will switch to the satellite view. And then if you have the controller also, you can pan the map, zoom in, and try to find some type of additional trail around here to try to detour from the place where you are. And then when you are back on the track, you can just disable this and keep following it with a regular map. That's something actually very useful when you have to find an alternative path and there's nothing on the map. Just clicking here and check. There's really no type of alternative. Yeah, for example, you have a good example here. For example, here. I could probably follow this path to make a connection here, right? But if you look at the map source, there's actually just a white line and it's not defined as a road. But looking at the satellite, I can see that there doesn't seem to be any kind of gate, and I could probably go through here to arrive at this spot. So yeah, this is something that we use a lot, but well, maybe not a lot, but it's something nice to have, and it's there actually to be used just like as I described, as an alternative to the regular map, to the topographic map that we have here, as an alternative to that, to find extra paths, extra solutions to make your detours. Okay, so moving on, what we use more here. Obviously, we use the route calculation now a lot because sometimes you're on the route and you want to go, for example, to an hotel, and it's really handy to just be able to click on the point of interest and maybe even check the ones near these ones because they are very far away from me. My position is actually up here. They have no distance yet. This is the same logic, even if this point of interest was automatically loaded when I loaded the GPX file. When you click on it, it will always try to zoom in a way where both your location and the point of interest is. And if I want to go there, I simply use the navigate. Sometimes I will use the code fast, other times I would use the road short, depends. But a very important thing, at least at the moment for the route planner, is that if you are currently on an off-road road on a track, you should probably always use the mixed profile, because the mixed profile is actually the only it's the only profile that can route on tracks on off-road. So if I'm planning a route to an off-road track or from an off-road track, I usually use navigate and then mixed profile. I always avoid tolls and motorways. I don't really like to ride on those. So yeah, I would now go to the hotel. Obviously here I would not go back. This is back on the track. I would go somewhere forward. So for example, on the GPX manager, obviously you can load multiple GPX files. For example, I can load 2 of them. It's taking a little bit more time because it's doing the auto load point of interest. That's why you get all these points in the map. You can disable this. Already showed you how to enable the auto load of points of interest. So if you have multiple GPX files, you can check which one is what by clicking on them, and it will always zoom to the GPX file. This you can hide or show them. You can remove, and you can also invert the direction. So we've seen that GPX tracks have this arrow showing you the direction, and obviously the direction is rather important because it's what's used to do the real-time calculations that you see on the right column. But if you've decided to start that GPX by the end, so from the end to the start, obviously you can invert this by going to the GPX file, clicking advanced, and then you can invert travel direction. Okay, so now the travel direction is reversed. It's from south to north. Obviously there's more stuff here. I'm not going to talk about everything, only the ones that I use the most. I also often change the colors on the tracks. That's very easy. You just go to the GPX manager, click on tracks for the GPX file. Then you have the list. You can just click on whatever track you want. So for example, this is an alternative. I'm not going to do this alternative. Here's another alternative. This is day 2, which uses a light blue color. So I'm going to change this color to dark blue. Yeah, that's it. Then there are obviously some basics to the map. Like for example, we get this question a lot, which is what do this first icon exactly do, the follow location. And you can check it by using it. So The first position is simply the map is not following your location. This will be automatically triggered if you move the map with your finger. You can see that the follow location gets disabled. Okay, I think it's the same with Google Maps and many other map apps. If it's like this with the N, it means the map is always facing north. So the top of the map is pointing to the north, south, the bottom of the map is pointing to south, and the map will not rotate. It will stay fixed like this and simply center your current location on the map like you are seeing. If you click on it again, now you have the rotate to travel direction. So basically the map will always rotate so that it's facing whatever is in front of you. This is usually the mode that most riders will use. Another thing that we get asked a lot is that a lot of people complain that they don't like the what they call the 3D map, but there is no 3D map here. In a sense that it's always the same map. What people call 3D map is just a tilt map like this. And the way that you do this is by using two fingers on the screen. So I'm going to try to show you how do you change this with your finger. And you use two fingers on the map and you move it up or down.